All right, all right. Good morning. Should be a good stream today. Gonna be looking at all the normal stuff. Nothing weird. Nothing unusual. Finding those repeatable setups. Signal days. Market only does three things. We'll project some levels across. And we'll find some of the best opportunities that we possibly can, leading us into day 3 of the week. Morning, Wild. If you're just coming in, make sure you say hello. Let me know you can hear me too. That'd be great, because we don't need another one of those incidents. Make sure you like the stream. It does help. Appreciate it. Loud and clear. Good deal. Morning, everybody. Can't see me. No, we're going to get started in just a few seconds. In fact, we should just get going right meow. Why not? We've got some very interesting things happening in the markets right now. But once you realize it's all just a template, it's all just, it doesn't even have to, you don't even have to really consider it to be a template. You know, you could just say, the market only does 3 things, and this is what I'm going to look for. But I do like the idea of using templates. So let's get going. We're going to get off the old elevator music here and get started. What's your favorite strategy? I don't really consider it strategy. I just consider it trading in general. I would say style would be better fit than strategy, but all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well. We're gonna see here. Typo. Ed. Hey, Cal. Right back at you, Ed. Morning, Robert. Good morning. All right, just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please feel free, pause the stream, read through this. I'm not a financial advisor. Good stuff. All right, very interesting things. Let's go over here and draw some things, as always. And I know that all these little line examples are probably annoying, but trust me, it works. I mean, just understanding where things have happened to see where the market could go and base, you know, some ideas. Or let's do the simplest thing first. Let's talk about the 3 things that markets do. They trend, they reverse, and trading range. All right. I like to avoid the bottom one because there's a lot of false breakouts. There's just a lot of back and forth. And I actually forgot to include the most important thing. Breakout trend or breakout fail and reverse. Okay, and that would look like something like this. Breakout, previous day's high and low. All right, we're using previous day's high and low as our reference for breakouts. All right, that makes it very objective and makes it very simple. They pull back and they trend. And it just so happens that some of these things will happen over the course of multiple days. Sometimes they don't even close outside of the range. Sometimes it just pops up through the previous day's high, pulls back, and then you get the trend on following days. But the market's still making higher highs and higher lows. let's go and take a look at what would a breakout and a fail and reverse look like. Well, we've got a breakout that failed. And then the next day, maybe this was a first red day. And then instead of, going back up or whatever, the market starts breaking down and making lower lows and lower highs. And I take it back to previous day's low or something like that. And a lot of times, these will develop and form and build over the course of 2 days, 3 days. Sometimes they'll build over the course of 3 to 5 days, depending on how the template is formed, built, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer for it to actually go and play out. And we're going to go back over here now. So looking at the NASDAQ today, what do I want to see if it was like an A plus B equals C scenario? If it's over the course of 3 days, what signals do I have from the previous day? How did it close? What am I looking for on this day in order to decide what I would like to look for today? Well, I've got a few different things. I look at the range of yesterday, being that we have not triggered previous day's high or low, and I'm also noticed that this is a very narrow range day, basically opened and closed in the same place, which is a narrow range day, which is a contraction in the market, all right? Basically, anytime the market starts to constrict or get more narrow, that usually leads to a much larger range day, or it can, all right? Sometimes there will be multiple narrow range days in a row, but eventually it will lead to a large range trending day where the market starts moving much further in one direction. All right, so this is an inside day. All right, Monday's the opening range of the week. Every week, all the time, from now until forever. All right, it is the opening range for the week. Then we get an inside day. So this day traded completely on the inside of previous day's high and low for Monday. And then now leading into today, I would have said, well, this is an inside day. If I didn't even see this today, I would look at this and say, hey, this was an inside bar. What do I need to look for tomorrow? It's also a narrow range day, so maybe I can expect a very large range day tomorrow. I would look and say, okay, well, this is going to be the previous day's high and low. So either it's going to, when I come to the screen tomorrow, have traded in 3 levels and triggered at my time zone or at my time frame to get a reversal trade, or in this case, it would have been kind of a trend trade because we've been in breakout to the upside. Could do that on either side. It could have done that in this direction. We go back to the high of the week. 3 levels. It fails to go higher at a certain time of day, coils, and then reverses, okay? Or I come to the screen, and they have broken out or broken down, and then the bottom of the box becomes the top of the box, the top of the box becomes the bottom of the box, either one, depending on the day. And then I would look for a breakout. Again, market only does 3 things. Pullback. Certain time of day, they're holding it up high when the low of the day is all the way down here. And I would look for an expansion of the range, okay? Oh, no. Okay. Expansion of the range. Expansion of a narrow range day. Expansion of an inside bar. If you all are very, interested in learning more about those things, you can go read Toby Crabel's book. Pretty easy to find. Really good stuff. He talks about range expansions. He talks about using narrow range days and all that other stuff. Okay. So that brings us into today. Now, obviously, I could see this in hindsight before drawing this out, but as you all know, I draw the same thing out. I'm not sure I've seen you post inside day trades. Talk about them all the time, TR. I trade them a little bit less frequently. I think I trade them a little less frequently when it's simply just an inside day. If it's an inside day and also like a first red day or something like that, then I'm more inclined to take that. Or I'll just take it as a session trade for the day. in a lot of cases. Or I'll look at it as an expansion trade. Yeah, combos, exactly. You might just not see me mention it as like strictly inside day. Okay, now that leads us into today. Market go up. Okay, market go up. We've been breaking out to the upside, and technically we're still in breakout to the upside. Okay, we've broken down outside of a previous day's level, previous day's low. Today's day 3 of the week. We've actually kind of done that in a bit of a 3-step pattern, and then put in a peak formation at the low of the day. Does any of those details matter? It's something to notice. It would be more something to notice if I was trading what is, I think Shaky said it earlier, London session. It would be more of something if I noticed like, oh, there's a 3 peaks pattern. It's London. What time is this? Yeah, exactly. So this would be perfect. It'd be like in London time. I'd be like, okay, I've got 3 peaks. It's day 3. This is one of the setups that I look for is on day 3, the 3 peaks outside of a previous day's level. And I'll take it back to previous day's low in this case. Okay, so you get your engulfment and you get your explosive move back up to that to stop out those breakout traders, all right? Now, in respect to the inside bar, what would I need to be looking at? We're broken down. We are broken out to the downside. We have pulled back to the previous day's low, and they're holding it up high in a 1-bar trading range. Okay, in a 1-bar trading range. We're in between the low and the high of this bar. I'm starting to narrow things down into just price action in general now. This is the setup that I would look for. The overall 3-day setup. Okay, we've got a large range day, inside day, and now we're broken out to the downside. Breakout, pullback. Where's the low of the week? It's right here. We're actually broken out of the low of the week. Where's the previous week's low? Down there. Okay, so we're going down. This is the top of the box now. Looking for it to low-hanging fruit itself back to the low, okay? Or maybe even expand the range. Let's take a look and see what would a range expansion of yesterday's range look like. All right, we're almost there. Now, also, what could be the flip side of this? Because you all know I don't like to just look at one thing and say, hey, this is what it's going to do today. What else could happen? We're at the low of the current week. Okay, we've triggered the previous day's low in an up-moving market. This was an inside day. So whenever we trigger the inside bar's low, inside bar traders are now triggered in, and they put their stops at the other side of the range. All right, so I want to be aware that, hey, this has potential to go vertical back up towards the upside. Now, would I be willing to take that? Maybe. Maybe not. We've gone back to the high of the day, made higher highs, but on a daily scale, we have broken down. All right, we have broken down. We broke out of the previous day's low. So that's what I would personally be looking for, because that would be me trading in alignment on a higher time frame. I'm just down on a lower time frame. Okay. Now, I want to, before I continue on going much further, I want to make sure that you all are aware that this guy's going to come on here at 1:30. Oh, I think they might have changed the time. Maybe not. I don't know. We've got news at 8:30, so in 15 minutes. But also, this guy's going to come on here at 1:30, and he's going to say hello, and then the entire market's going to go nuts. All right. Whatever he has to say really doesn't matter. It's just going to go crazy the whole time. So as far as taking setups today, I know that some people have been struggling these last couple of weeks because it feels like maybe the setups aren't there as much. And the market honestly has been setting up at weird times because I think there's been a lot of afternoon discussions and people speaking in the afternoon and things like that. And remember, the news schedule tends to affect those things. So you have to be, very careful and understanding of that the setups are still there, but if they're not occurring in our session, that's the biggest takeaway. Is like, hey, I understand the setups are going to be there. It just might not be at the times that I'm trading. And eventually the market will go back to normal doing normal things. All right, we had some really good setups at the beginning of the week last week, and then towards the end of the week, it got a little weird. All right, and then beginning of this week, look at this, things happening late after the session ends, or right at the very end of the session. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It happens. The market goes through these little cycles where things happen earlier, they happen a little bit later, and that's okay. We'll revert back to how normal here soon. Ed, margins. Good deal. All right, let's go to US 30. I want to see if I can find a better signal day. We've got an inside bar here. We had a large range day over here and a breakout day on Monday. Let's see if any of the other indexes have presented a little differently. All right, so now I open this, and the very first thing that I notice is we had a breakout day on Monday, opening range for the week. They attempted to go higher at the high of the week, and they could not do that. All right, they tried, they could not, and they closed the day somewhat of a narrow range day, but that's good. It's good that this first red day has turned into a narrow range day. And we have a first red day. Large range, multiple large range pumping days that have attempted to go higher, and they have failed to do so. And then we get a first red day. Okay, let's see. There we go. Now, again, we come into today, and US 30 has done a very similar thing, and we have broken down. All right, we broke it down. They still give you the three little peaks and a peak formation low that goes vertical back up towards the upside. And they have actually popped back up on top of previous day's low, and they're working it. I like this. All right, this gives me, maybe not because I think it's going to work out, because I never really think it's going to work out until it does. However, we are at the level that I want to be at if this is going to be a breakout, pullback, and then continuation. On the day, I'd like to see it start making lower lows and lower highs, which could be a little bit of a problem because we've already put in a higher high. So I would like to see this higher high fail and start going vertical back down. Again, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. We're at the low of the current week. Oh, low's all the way down here. What in the world was that? Just a rogue. Okay, sure. Yeah. We got a higher high on the day, and we're resting on top of previous day's low. And we're at the low of the current week with a new peak formation put in place, but it is a lower low. Okay. So lower low for the entire week, but that doesn't mean it has to go down today. Okay. We could go back to the high and try and go higher. Maybe that fails, and then maybe this turns into a Friday template. Maybe today's the beginning of a 3-day template for Friday. We get a peak formation low that pumps back up Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday rolls over and we go back to the low of the week. All right, I'm always trying to play chess, not checkers, not to overthink it. It doesn't take much thinking to see that. Hey, this is the first time they've made a lower low. Maybe the market's going to go back and try and make a higher high. Save a 100-hour slide, all right, on all these the newer videos that I've been putting out. I keep putting that slide in those videos because it'll help a lot to understand the templates and just understand how the market tends to move in general. All right, S&P. My view is they have taken the shorts out. Is that valid? Yes. They've also triggered in the shorts. Wait, taken out the shorts? Oh, I see what you're saying. So, like, if I was short early in the day, they've came back up and stopped them out at break even or whatever? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. The news is probably going to tell us a lot at 8:30. I really don't like that this is consolidating so strongly and just this big range. That's disgusting. The fact that we are moving the market at weird times also makes me feel a little strange. I don't really care for that. A lot of times when that happens, there's a lot of traps on the day. We turn into a ranging day and whatever. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. Well, I'm on a 5-minute chart, although it really doesn't matter, but we'll go back to a 15. All right, S&P, same thing as US 30. All right, we've got multiple large range days. Market go up. Okay. Which really last week was the first green week, so that could be whatever. But this week though, first red day on Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, first red, and then today we get the strong gap down through the previous day's low, making lower lows. Same as US 30. Now this is in a 1 bar range as well. In between a high and a low. Now, the previous day's low, of course, is the top of the box, so I'm just going to draw that here, but basically some breakout pullback. There was some news from China at 4:30. Got it. Okay. Cool. All right, this makes it really easy, though. We pump it up. Inside bar, which this is also an inside day, right? So we got to do one of these. Fairly narrow range day. Inside bar. Looks like we've already hit one full expansion of that range. Maybe we'll do more, maybe not. All right, Russell. Okay, very similar. This one was not a first red day. They did try to go higher, and it did fail. And this actually traded down into the previous day's low instead of gapping through. Which is a little bit different. All right, maybe this is just the lower low right here. But this could also be, like I said, the beginning of a 3-day opportunity or a 3-day setup. It does not have to go down today. It doesn't have to go down at all. We could just be going back to retest the high. And then it succeeds. And then it just keeps going. Yeah, on the day itself, TR, absolutely. It could have made a higher high today, and then now we're... And that could go with all of these. We could have made a higher high on the day, intraday higher highs, and now we've... Well, this looks horrible. This is like a little tortilla chip, all right? No idea which sides this is going to break to, and again, this is just in consolidation, but as far as the template goes, market go up, market make a lower low, maybe this goes down today, maybe this is the beginning of a new 3-day template, all right? I'm not going to get sucked into it with the understanding that it could just be setting up for Friday. All right, oil, very similar. We had an inside day yesterday on Tuesday. A fairly narrow range inside day as well. They opened and closed in the same spot. And again, looks like some news. And this is the exact same template as everything else that we've been looking at. All right, we've got a big up move. Beginning of the week, opening range for the week. We had a failed breakout day 1 of the cycle. Yesterday was day 2 of the cycle. Today's day 3. We made a lower low in the week's range. And also the other problem with a lot of these is it can't be setting up for Friday. I know we have a holiday. Is it Friday? It probably is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, maybe Monday then. And Monday. Very well. So part of the problem right now is previous week's high and low. We haven't triggered that either. All right, so oil. Get this lower low in here. Now this has gone back to the high. This was also a bit of a first red yesterday. But we have not triggered previous week's high or low, which is an issue. We're trading just on the inside of a high and a low. Which means that this could turn into an inside week still. And with holidays and stuff, that might even be more likely. Let's see if we can find something that has triggered previous week's levels. Okay, natural gas has triggered previous week's levels. You know, peak formation high, peak formation low. Template. Monday, Tuesday. And that leads us into today. We've been going down, it looks like. Maybe we triggered the high. Yesterday was also a narrow range day on this. News incoming in 5 minutes. Yep. All right. I'm not really sure about this one either. This doesn't look bad. I kind of like the fact that we got peak formation high, peak formation low, and then now we've consolidated in the middle, but it's actually a fairly narrow range consolidation. Would need some kind of squeeze. Let's see. Yeah, Jimmy, this is peak formation high, peak formation low, Monday, Tuesday, over the course of 2 days, peak formations. Let's see. We've been making lower lows and lower highs. Yeah, they hit both sides, but it just broke out, which is fine. And there was some follow through yesterday at the wrong time of day, which is whatever. Indicator that separates the days. This one? It's just go on TradingView, go to events, click this button. This one, though, is weekly, daily separators. Okay. This was the low of the day before the session began. And we got an engulfment down here. I might be watching this because this one has triggered previous week's levels. I also have a good template. I don't have a great signal day, but I have a good template. I think I'd be willing to watch. How long have we been going down? A few weeks, quite a few weeks. I got an engulfment on a 1 hour chart too. Okay. Let's go down. Take a look at gold. All right, now gold has triggered previous week's levels as well. We're in breakout going higher. Still making higher highs and higher lows. And gold has been on an absolute tear, just going vertical day after day, week after week. And I've mentioned this setup multiple times in multiple streams now, and it has not played out really the way that I wanted it to in any of those. And that's okay. We got 3 sessions of breakout on day 3, outside of a previous day's level, outside of a previous week's level. And they have not triggered the previous day's high. So we've got the higher lows acting as order flow to go back down. So we got like base. Take a look at this. All right, we got a base here, and we've got space for the market to fall through to get back to previous day's high. What would I need to see? I would need to see, again, I need to see that lower low come in. We've got a 5-minute chart up. 5-minute chart really has no weight, but I would like to at least see the market start making lower lows and lower highs before I decide to stand in front of a train. You know what I mean? I don't want to get in front of something that just keeps going vertical, so I like to wait for it to break down, and then I'll make that decision. But base, space, a lot of order flow to fall back down through. Right now, this is just a not moving market, but this would normally be a setup if it were to set up correctly, and I would just target the previous day's high or the previous day's close, or even the previous day's low in some cases. Okay. Ed, yep. Even though I don't really track macros and stuff like that, I fully understand that. Uncertainty and whatever, people tend to run towards security, which is gold. Okay, silver. Actually, let's go back to gold. Make sure I talk about this. We had an inside day yesterday. Remember that the trade setups can come in any, which was also a narrow range day, but these trade setups can come in any session. It does not matter. I would prefer to see them in my session so I can benefit from it. Doing a range expansion of that inside bar now. I think there was 2 or 3 full expansions of the range, which started in Asia. Okay. Asia started right there. And it was already in liftoff. That's usually not what I'd like to see if I'm trading Asia. I'd like to see before Asia spike up, pull back down, and then continuation going higher. Robert, we're talking about narrow range days. Narrow range days, and when the market contracts, constricts, gets smaller, and you have days where they you go from a very wide range day into a very small range day. The probability of the template working out, number one, and number two, of finding a day that is trending in the next coming days is much higher because the market's already constricted and now it's ready to expand. And I was talking about, you can go, and if you want to learn more about that and learn about the statistics of that, and all the data is already there, which is really cool. You can just read Toby Crabel's book or just go look at it. You don't even have to read the whole thing. He talks a lot about range expansions and things like that. Okay. Silver. Not much, right? I wouldn't even consider this to be, if I was looking at silver or gold, I would prefer gold because they've already retested previous day's high. So let's go to Bitcoin. Someone had said first red day yesterday, and I think I would be inclined to agree. In fact, I would. We had a day that opened. We had multiple pumping days. A day that opened, attempted to go higher and failed. Day one of the 3-day cycle, closed below previous day's close, but also the open for the day. We've made lower lows today. We're at the low of the week, which is unfortunate. Has this triggered previous week's high? It has. So that's good at least. No. TR, silver retested. Gold has not, so I'd be more inclined to watch gold because of that. Because the money's still sitting on top of previous day's high. Or people at break even or whatever. Let's see here. CAD. Yeah, give me some currency pairs. To be fair and to be very honest, with Powell speaking at 11:30 and with the current templates that I have right now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not particularly... I have not jumped out of my chair for any of these. I have not looked at any of these and said, That's perfect. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I'd like to see. This is exactly how I'd like to see things present. I don't feel that with any of these at all. S&P maybe was, like US 30 first red day. I would have felt a lot better with this if it didn't do whatever the heck this is. Okay? And the fact that they have it trapped in a consolidation. Same thing here. Same thing here. With the current market and how things have been acting, I'm not going to say strange. They've just been moving the market at different times. It doesn't give me a good feeling to see things like this. Okay, gold. I'd be okay with watching this, but I am not stepping in front of a parabolic move that's just going vertical over and over and over again. It doesn't even really have a good stair-stepping three peaks pattern. If it was a little bit more jagged, I would feel better about it. Like in my playbook, again, I always refer back to this. Notice how in these other illustrations that I have, they were very jagged. This is a blow off top. Just way overextended, right? Same thing here. This is what right looks like. And I don't really see that here. I just see a market going higher. Okay, let's take a look at some currencies. Let's see, CAD. Go here. We'll go here. Okay, Monday was a possible first green day, narrow range day, right? We had it was actually a pretty good trade for a first green day on Tuesday. And Tuesday typically expands the range of Monday. And this pen through the high is the higher high. Okay. They triggered the previous day's high, and then they worked it back down into the low, and then a new hour opens up and goes vertical. Engulfment, pin hammer. I mean, this is perfect. Also making higher highs, on the day, things like that. Okay, so a market making lower lows and lower highs. First green day, day one of the 3-day cycle, the failed breakout at the low of the current week. The higher high was made in the session. The dump back down into closing price. Fine. Really just a dump back down into the low after making a higher high. So higher high, 3 pushes back down. For the higher low, again, short squeeze pattern. And then expanding the range of Monday to the upside, which I think they may have completed. Maybe not. Just kidding. And something interesting, I just look at this stuff, and I'm a nerd for price action and how the market moves. I don't know if you all can tell. I just find it very interesting. And whenever I see they've came out of consolidation, out of a previous day's high, they completed a very nice daily cycle, and then they went into consolidation to end the day. All right. Is that like super relevant, useful information? Probably not. I just like it. I just like seeing how the market moves. It's very interesting to me. So anyways, how does that help you for today? Well, everything I just said didn't really help much at all. But the only thing that really matter is, number one, we triggered previous week's low. So that's good. So it's not going to be an inside week. We closed in breakout yesterday outside of Monday's high, opening range breakout. I project that level across consistently every single time. Whenever the market closes in breakout, they've traded back down into that. Is this 3 levels of drop? Do we get 75 pips down? Ooh. To the tick? Come on. Almost to the tick. Oh, dang. I measured it wrong. Very close. All right, we got 3 levels of drop and a double bottom peak formation low and an engulfment. Little micro head and shoulders down here. If you look at it, let's go down a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe not. Never mind. I take that back. Okay, but we do have a peak formation at the low of the day. So you've got the higher high breakout. So again, market only does three things. 3 levels of drop, peak formation low at the low of the day. We're making higher highs and higher lows on the day. Okay, this was the first. They've made that very difficult to say. Interesting. All right, but anyways, peak formation, be looking for a squeeze. Trend trade. All right. It's either going to trend trade or it's going to, the breakout level will fail. It'll start making lower lows, lower highs, and we'll go back to the low of the week. Double CAD news today. Is it big news? It's decent. Dollar and Swiss. Let's take a look at the Swiss, and I'll go to the dollar yen. Okay, we closed in breakout on Friday. It looks like we've been working that. We have not triggered previous week's low on the Swiss, so this is just inside. This is all inside. Did trigger the previous day's high on Monday, which is fine. Then you get an inside day on Tuesday. Was not a narrow range inside day. Little things like that you can notice, okay? Monday was, but then we had the large range inside day on Tuesday. There's really nothing I can do with this, unfortunately, because what template am I looking at? I have a peak formation high on Monday, and I guess maybe a peak formation low from Friday and an inside day on Tuesday. So, maybe, but it's all on the inside. I would have to guess direction. Dollar yen. TR, so that's what I was talking about with the trending. So if you have a large range inside day, the probability of it expanding the range on the next day and trending is a little bit lower compared to, for example, I'm just really saying that it's more ideal when you have a narrow range inside bar, and you can actually, let's do this. How about this? I think this gives a really good visual. Okay. So when you get inside bars that's not an inside bar, are a little bit more narrow, the probability of expansions is higher compared to if you have, because a lot of times you'll see like a really big bar like this, and then the inside bar the following day. It's an inside bar, but it's also like this. Now you've got all this room on the inside to work with, and a lot of times it won't expand the way that you would hope for. Compared to on a daily chart, when you look at inside bars that are very narrow, a lot of times, I'm not saying every single time, because nothing in trading is every single time, the next day's range is a little bit wider, longer, and they will expand the bar or expand that range more consistently and do a full-blown range expansion of that bar. Now, will it happen in your session and all those things? Of course, you never really know, but that's the idea. Okay. Again, Friday closed in breakout. Monday was an inside day. Tuesday was a double so we've got a double inside day. Tuesday was narrow range, which is good. Wednesday has broke down and broke out. Did we break out of Friday's low? Or trigger? We're at Friday's low. Okay, breakout pullback. I feel like this is developing into something, but I would need to wait and see a bit more. The breakout of the previous day's low is great and everything, but I would need to wait for 9:30. Euro JPY. I'm just waiting to see one that actually stands out and screams, "Hey, watch this pair," because all of these that I've looked at so far are just really not. Okay, so this one's a little bit better, just in the sense that at the very least, yesterday closed in breakout. Man, this thing's been wicking horribly. I thought Euro JPY used to move like really nice. This looks miserable. Starting about right here all last week. Anyways, yesterday it closed in breakout. That's good, so I can project this across. We pumped it back up. And it's already moving. You can even kind of see this little jab back up over here, but breaking down, going sideways, and following through. The setup started back over here a little bit early. Did it do 3 levels of rise? See, we did 75. We can take a look at the 100 pip box. Okay, we got peak formations at 50. So that would put our strike zone at 25. That worked out pretty well. Psychological question. Do you feel stress heading into the open? How do you... Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a good one. 4K. This is really good. I'm glad that you asked this because it's a very simple solution to a very complex emotion. There's not some crazy thing that needs to be done. Okay. Do you have confidence? It's easy to don't lie to yourself either. All right. If you look at the chart and you don't know what you're looking at or looking for, that is going to cause stress. If I forgot everything I know right now and I went and started driving a car and cars are zipping back and forth, think about how stressful that would be. I have no idea what all the lights mean. I don't know what the signs mean. I don't know anything. That's going to be very stressful. But if you have been driving for 20 years and you get behind the wheel, it's like another day. You know exactly what to do. It's all just second nature, right? It's not some complex thing that needs to be super scary or whatever. There's really nothing to it. You just need to be confident in what you're looking for and why. And that's why the why is so important to me, is because if you don't know the why behind why you're looking for something, it makes it very difficult to retain and understand. Yeah, so if you think that today is trash and garbage because what you're looking for isn't there, then if you've been burned enough times trading something that it's not there, right? It's not there. This is crap. I know that it's trash, and then I do it anyways, and I get burned. I've touched the hot stove. If you keep touching the hot stove, eventually you're going to want to stop touching the hot stove. Am I saying go and start touching the hot stove over and over again so that way, you can stop doing it? No. Just understand that you look at it and you say, I am well versed enough. I know that this is a bad day for me to be entering into the market. I'm not going to touch the hot stove today. And then you just sit there and watch. You don't have to even do anything like, oh, I'm just going to demo trade today. Why? Why would you do that? Watch the market, see if it does whatever. If it starts to change and things get better, great. If it doesn't and it's trash, go do whatever, Go to the gym. Use that time better than just sitting there and hoping and praying. Because most days when right is right, it is there. You come to the screen, you've got a lower low and 3 stair steps to the high, and it breaks down immediately. Holy cow, that's easy. Why would I sit here and watch... Oh, like for example, yesterday, NASDAQ. This is what the session looked like. It pumped up, and then it just started doing this. And I was like, okay, maybe, I I don't really know. You know, we got this big bar back down, but I don't have a lower low. I've just been making higher high. And it started doing this. It's like, oh, yeah, let me just sit here and watch to see if this finally does something. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not playing their game. That's what it is. It's just an emotional game. Which one of these bars will be my downfall? Which one of these bars will actually make me click the button? None of them, because I'm just going to walk away. All right. This is why I talk about this tortilla chip. It's not a tortilla chip. It's a symmetrical triangle or whatever. The most garbage trading pattern on earth. All right. I hate this thing because exactly what it's doing right here. It's making higher lows and lower highs and constricting. And when it breaks, sometimes it'll break and then rip and go the other way, and you just don't really ever know. So I'd rather just walk away. But that's how I do it. It's just I look at the day and I say the template's not there, and that's it. Let's see. How do you know it will be a small range day? There's little indications, TR, like off the open, for example, if it just stays in the first range, the 15-minute range, if it just stays inside of the opening range for the session. Okay, again, so for NASDAQ yesterday, there's like little things that you can notice. If they have not triggered previous day's high or low before you come into the session, for example, if they have not triggered previous day's high or low before you come into the session, I'm already kind of questioning things. Where's 9:30 at? There's 9:30 there. Look at what happened all session long. We just stayed inside of the opening range for the session. All right. That can lead to, and a lot of times will indicate that it will be a narrow range or a inside day. Because we're not expanding. It can't go higher. It can't go lower. It just won't do anything. Yep, Robert, that's another one. If there's news on the calendar that you're anticipating or seeing, you know, like for example, for today, Powell speaking, I'm playing chess, not checkers. I know that he's speaking at this time. It might be trash just because of that. The whole session might just be garbage. Because he's going to come on here. They're going to hold it in a range all session long. He's going to say hello, and then it's going to, you know, go crazy. No idea. Little things like this. I would say the two biggest things, TR, that I look at are, have we triggered the previous day's high and low today? Because if we have not, then the big money or the big players might not be involved yet. Has that market triggered a previous week's level, which all indexes right now have not? And then narrowing it down much further, like if we just open up and we stay on the inside of the first 15 minutes high and low, there's a much higher probability of that day being a ranging day. Okay. I think I saw some other currencies you all wanted to see. I can't click that. I'm sorry. Not that I don't trust you, Jimmy, but I never know. You never know what that's going to be. Okay, what other pairs do you all want to see? We've got a few minutes here before 9 o'clock, and I need to get ready for this session. Odd cat. Okay, I know I've seen that one. You all been hit me with that one a few times. Oh. Okay. Hold on. Now, see, it's unfortunate because it hasn't triggered the high yet. Triggered the low down here. And then we broke out of the high for 2 days. It did not fail. We just continue to go higher. All right, so again, same thing as I always do. Closed in breakout. And then on the day, what would I need to see? I would have liked to have seen a breakout, a pullback for trend continuation, which happened at 4:15 this morning. All right, and it's gone back to the high and has not gone any higher. Would I look to take anything else off of this? Probably not. Can you check copper? Sure. I'm just waiting for... Okay, so right now we're in a double inside. They have not triggered anything. What in the world is that? Okay. We had a breakout on Monday, which is also the opening range for the week. So, take that with a grain. Do we get 150 out of this? The oldest trick in the book. What was it, Nipsey? Let's see, we get 1, 2, 3. So the peak formations were made above, above 50. And then now we've came down and put in peak formations at 3 levels of drop. It looks like the trade was yesterday on Tuesday, 8:30 in the morning. Came down, put in that peak formation, 3 levels of drop, engulfment, pin hammer. 8:45 into the new hour. Yeah, I don't know for today though. Still double inside. It's hard to say. We're at 3 levels of drop though. It just, doesn't seem like it's wanting to go back up. But if there was some crazy explosive move, we started letting out the longs and things like that, we get peak formations put into double zeros. New Zealand CAD. I'm not really happy with that though. I think I'd be reaching if I said that was something that I'd want to watch. Okay, higher highs and higher lows. Came down and made a lower low. We got the breakout level. How many days? A lot. A lot of days. Okay, so we've got at least 3 days breakouts. Realistically, it might be better to wait for a first red day or something along those lines. But we do have the breakout level way down yonder in the Chattahoochee. And we're making lower lows and lower highs on the day. So what time is this? Right into the beginning of New York, too. With currency pairs tending to move a little bit earlier. You kind of see the 3 pushes as well. 1, 2, and then 3. Up, down. This little middle section here is like the middle part of the M. They tried one more time and then it engulfed down. Surprisingly, this is one of the better instruments that I've seen as far as like realistic setups. Higher high, lower low, pump back to the high. We're now making lower lows and lower highs. I don't know how clean this is going to be. It's still pretty early, but, you know, with currencies tending to move a bit earlier, you can even see it better down here on the 5. A little peak formation low. And then first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, up, a little down. Well, it's actually down, up, so like down, up, and then engulf. You can see the little 3 push pattern here, even better. Breaks down, goes sideways, follows through. Again, is that going to help for 9:30? Maybe not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this stream has been useful to you. Sorry that there's, you know, as far as the market goes, I can't make it have the best templates in the world, but I can at least tell you all honestly that it's just not there for me right now. If I do end up finding something that looks really good, like maybe we start breaking down outside of these bars ranges and things start to look a little bit better, I will make sure to get those posted over in Discord and with a nice explanation of why I enter the trade, win or lose, whatever it may be. And for anybody that might be just listening in the background, I do these streams every Wednesday and Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern time. So I'll see you all again this Friday, 8 a.m. Oh, no, you won't. You're not going to hear from me this Friday because it'd be silly to come on here and talk about what the day's going to do when it's an off day. So I'll see you all next week. All right. You have a good one. Bye-bye.